Hello everyone. Welcome to my closet. I've stitched together a few things. I think it looks pretty cool. But I do need to upgrade some equipment because I'm just recording this through my phone and this microphone isn't even recording sound. I've just got the light turned on because I think it looks cool. But this can just go over here for now. If you don't know who I am, my name is Brayton. Hello, I'm one of the co-hosts of the We're Not Helpful podcast. We release episodes every second Wednesday and occasionally some little extras in between. We mostly talk about books, writing, and everything in between. But today, I'm going to do something a little bit different. You see, I've gone down a YouTube rabbit hole of everyday carries. If you don't know what that is, let me explain. Everyday carry is a collection of useful items that are constantly carried on your person every day. Now you see what I did there? I used one of my everyday carries to talk about my everyday. Isn't that interesting? Now, everyday carries usually talk about what type of wallet you have or what type of pocket knife, torch, or flashlight if you are in the US. You know, these things that someone has on you every day. But considering that we are a book-focused podcast, I wanted to talk to you today about what everyday carry you would have when you are a reader. Now, some of you out there are probably thinking, what do you mean you need an everyday carry to read a book? Can't you just read a book? No, it is not that simple anymore. Part of being involved in the reading and book discourse online is the preparation to read. That is almost as important as the reading itself. So what do I carry every day? My notebook. I can write down quotes. I can write down different character actions or motivations that I want to remember. Or if you are into that, you can actually write down better ideas for stories or how you want the book to end. Now, I have lots of different ones. This is just a line. These ones I picked up at Daiso. Very cheap, and I love the look of them. This one is a grid. This one is also a grid, and this one is a dot grid. Now, to go along with your notebooks, you need something to write with it. This is where a pen comes in handy. You can use pencil if you wish, or just a standard ballpoint pen. That's absolutely fine. But if you want to really, and I mean really, get into books, you need a fountain pen. This is a Lamy brand, black ink. That's the only one I really like. It's not the most expensive one, but it definitely has served me well, especially if you're just starting to get into the fountain pen market. Now that we have our notebooks and our pen ready to go, we are prepared to read. But does that mean we can just pick up a book and start reading? No, not yet, because you need to consider what environment are you going to be reading in? Is it your bedroom? Is it a bus or train on the way to work or some sort of social event? Are you going to be reading at that social event in the corner, ignoring everyone else? You need to consider lighting. There are two lights that I like to carry with me. This one. This is a Glowcent reading light. Goes over your shoulders, or over your neck, onto your shoulders, and turns on side. And you can change the color type and the brightness on this side. The neck is also flexible. And this is very handy. I use this literally every day. You can sit in bed, book open, reading. You can sit in a park, in a library, wherever you need to, and your reading light goes with you. It is top notch, and I legitimately do recommend this product. Very inexpensive. I think this cost me about $30, rechargeable with the USB-C, and battery lasts for weeks. I've owned this probably about 6-7 months and have recharged it twice in that time. Obviously, usage will determine battery life, but for me, this has been fantastic. The second reading light I like to carry is this little guy. Look at him. We've all been there. We know what this duck is going through. Turns on, slapping his booty. Brighter, brighter, and off. Maybe this one's not as practical as the other one, but you whip this out at a party with your book, you slap his booty, you start reading, you are going to be the life of the party. Trust me. Now that we have our reading lights and our notebooks, we are prepared to read, but not yet. We've all come across that situation. You're reading a book and oh my goodness, there's a word you don't know. What can you do? Now, some people might say you can get your phone out and you can just look it up on Google, but I know a lot of you out there really like the feel of paper between your hands. That is why I recommend a paper dictionary. This is Funk and Wagnall's Practical Standard Dictionary 1945 edition. It is the only one I trust when I need to look up a word. Doesn't cover words that you might find in more modern dictionaries like iPad, podcast, YouTube, things like that. To be quite frank, if the book contains those words, maybe the book isn't worth reading. This is my go-to when I need to look up a word. Now, we've finished our preparation to read. We are ready to open our book and read. But we need to make a decision. Are we going to be reading paperback books, hardcover books, or are we going to be reading something a bit more modern? A Kindle. I love my Kindle. It's fantastic. I've put a little pop thing on the back so I can hold it like that. It's great. Highly recommend this Kindle. Particularly if you are in a reading slump like I was for many years. This baby got me back into reading. This thing here. If your goal is to read books, this is a really great place to start if you are struggling getting back into books. But let's say you've finished all your books on your Kindle, you've been given some books for Christmas. This is my current read, Morning Star by Pierce Brown, the third book in the Red Rising series. You can see I'm about just over halfway through this book now. And you're probably thinking, Brayton, you look like an intelligent guy. You're probably going to fly through the last 200 pages or so of this in an afternoon, while you're on the bus going to work, while you're on the train coming home. And you might be right. That is why in my everyday carry, I always make sure I bring the next book in the series. That is essential. Even if you've just started a book, if it's part of a series, make sure you bring the second one, because you never know how good that book is going to be. You could fly through that book in an hour and then be sitting there like, what am I going to do now? Bring the next book. But you're also thinking, what if that next book is just as good? I've got the solution. Bring the next book in the series. This is Dark Age. This is the 5th book in the Red Rising series. Bring this along with you. So now I am covered for any eventuality where I may not have a book to read. Now you may be asking yourself, how am I meant to carry all these things with me? I mean, it seems like a lot. And I've spent all my money on books and reading lights and notebooks and pens. I can't afford a bag. I've got the secret for you. This is a Woolworths shopping bag. 15 cents. You can get them at any Woolworths and they will fit anything you need right in this bag. We've reached the end. I really hope you enjoyed that look into what I carry with me every day as a really avid reader. Between you and me, a lot of that was tongue-in-cheek, but there are some good recommendations in there. I'm sure you can work out which ones were the legitimate ones and which ones weren't. This still isn't recording any sound, but I think the red looks pretty cool. I think you'd agree too. Consider subscribing to the channel. Consider subscribing to our podcast, We're Not Helpful. We're Not Helpful. I think this video showed that, but we do have a lot of fun along the way. We don't take ourselves seriously at all. If you have something that you take with you every day, please let me know in the comments. Happy reading, and I'll see you next time.